The palace was silent. Dust hung in the air like smoke after battle. Broken walls showed signs of fire, and golden banners lay torn on the floor. The human, Captain Ryan Hale, moved slowly through the ruins. His boots echoed on marble steps, the sound too loud in the emptiness. He carried no weapon now, only a metal pipe he had found near the entrance. Ryan was tired, hungry, and alone. His team had fallen in the attack 2 nights ago. The Galactic enforcers had taken control of the city, and now he was a shadow, moving from ruin to ruin. He entered the palace only to search for food, maybe water. He did not expect to find her. At first he thought the figure was a statue. She sat on a broken throne, her silver hair glowing in the pale light. Her skin shimmered faintly blue, marked with symbols he did not understand. But then she moved, her eyes opened, sharp and watchful, like a blade pulled from its sheath. Ryan froze. His heart pounded. The alien princess stared at him without fear, though her arm was wrapped with cloth dark with blood. "Human," she said, her voice soft but strong. "You should not be here." Ryan gripped the pipe tighter.
"Funny, I could say the same about you." The silence stretched.
He expected her to call guards, to attack him, to scream. Instead, she shifted, wincing as pain touched her wound. Ryan's instincts pushed him forward. He stepped closer. "You're hurt," she raised her chin proudly. "I am of the royal line. Pain does not bend me." He gave a tired laugh. "Yeah, well, blood doesn't care about royal lines. You'll die if that's not treated." Her eyes narrowed, studying him. She seemed ready to order him away. But then something in his expression stopped her. He wasn't a soldier now. He wasn't an enemy. He was just a man who saw someone bleeding. Ryan knelt, pulling a small pack from his belt. Inside was a strip of clean cloth. He moved slowly, showing his hands. "I can help." The princess hesitated, then nodded once. As he wrapped the cloth around her wound, Ryan muttered, "Hold still, sweetie." Her eyes widened. "What did you call me?" He blinked. Sweetie. Sorry, habit, I didn't mean." Her face turned a soft violet shade. She looked away, hiding her reaction, but her lips curved slightly. "Sweetie," she repeated, testing the word. Ryan rubbed the back of his neck, embarrassed. "Yeah, just a human thing. Don't take it seriously." But then something unexpected happened. The alien princess laughed, soft at first, then clear, ringing in the empty hall like music. Ryan stared. He hadn't heard laughter since his team was alive. The sound made his chest ache. She looked back at him, eyes shining in the dust-filled light. "Very well, human. If I am sweetie, then you are—" She paused, searching for the right word. "Darling," Ryan nearly choked. "Wait, what?" "No, that's not how it works." But she was smiling now, a royal smile that carried warmth and mischief. For the first time, she looked less like a statue, more like a person. Before Ryan could respond, a sound echoed in the distance. Metal footsteps, steady and cold. Both of them froze. "Enforcers," she whispered. Ryan's stomach tightened. He knew that sound. The armored soldiers of the Galactic Law were sweeping the palace. If they found him, he would be executed as a trespasser. If they found her, he didn't want to think about it. She looked at him, panic hidden behind her royal pride. "They must not see me. If they do, everything ends." Ryan didn't ask questions. He grabbed her hand. It was warm, trembling despite her strength. "Come on, we move." For a second she resisted. She was a princess, unused to being pulled by anyone. But then the footsteps grew louder and she followed. They ran through broken halls, ducking behind fallen pillars, slipping through cracks in the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling as soldiers' voices echoed nearby. Ryan's heart raced. Every corner could mean death. But beside him, the alien princess kept pace. Her royal dress torn, her silver hair wild, yet her spirit unbroken. At one point, she whispered between breaths, "Why do you help me, human? We are not allies." Ryan glanced at her, his voice low but firm. "Because you're not my enemy." "Not right now. And because—" He hesitated, then grinned despite the danger. "Sweetie, I couldn't leave you sitting on that throne alone." She blinked at him, shocked again by the name. Then even in the middle of fear, she laughed quietly. It was the strangest thing. Soldiers hunted them. Death was one wrong step away, but for a brief moment they were just two people sharing laughter in the dark. They reached a hidden doorway, half covered with rubble. Ryan pushed it open with effort. Behind it, stairs led down into the shadows of the palace. He turned to her. Down there? Safe enough for now? She looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then she whispered, "Thank you, darling," Ryan groaned. "This is going to stick, isn't it?" She smiled, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Yes. Together they slipped into the shadows as the enforcer's boots thundered above. The tunnel was cold and narrow. Broken stone steps led deeper into the earth where the air smelled of dust and old metal. Ryan held the princess's hand as they moved in silence, listening for the echo of armored boots above. The sound faded, but the fear did not. When they reached the bottom, the passage opened into a forgotten chamber. Ancient lamps glowed weakly on the walls, powered by crystals that had not died even after centuries. Strange carvings covered the stone, showing kings, battles, and strange winged beasts. Ryan dropped to the floor, breathing hard. Safe for now. The princess stood tall, though her wound still throbbed under the cloth. She looked around the chamber, her silver hair catching the faint light. This place is older than my family's rule. My ancestors built these tunnels to hide from war. Ryan raised an eyebrow. So basically this is your family's basement? She blinked, unsure if he was mocking her. Then slowly she gave a small laugh. A royal basement, perhaps. The sound of her laugh in such a dark place made Ryan smile despite his exhaustion. For a moment, the palace above, the soldiers, the war, all of it felt far away. But silence returned quickly, heavy and sharp. Ryan studied her face, then spoke quietly. "You never told me your name." She hesitated. Royals guarded their names like treasures. "Lyra," she finally said. "Princess Lyra of the 7th Crown." Ryan nodded. "Lyra, that fits." He stretched his legs, leaning against the wall. "I'm Ryan, captain technically, but I think my rank doesn't matter anymore." Lyra tilted her head. "Captain Ryan, a soldier without an army. A man who calls a princess." "Sweetie," he groaned. "You're not going to let that go, are you?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "No, darling." They both laughed softly, though their voices shook with exhaustion. But then Lyra grew serious. She lowered her gaze. "You should not be with me. If the enforcers find us together, they will not only kill you, they will destroy me as well." Ryan frowned. "Why, you're their princess. Wouldn't they protect you?" Her eyes darkened. "The Galactic Law does not forgive. It forbids royals from mixing with outsiders. A bond with a human is the greatest shame." Ryan sat up straighter. "Bond, you mean just talking to me?" She shook her head. "Even standing beside you is dangerous. If anyone saw us laughing together, they would call it betrayal." Ryan let out a sharp laugh, though it had no humor. "So let me get this straight. I save your life, patch your wound, help you escape. And the law says you are guilty just for being near me?" Lyra's voice was quiet, almost broken. "Yes." The chamber felt colder now. The crystals flickered like dying stars. Ryan rubbed his face, trying to process it. He thought of his lost team, of the mission that had already failed. And now, sitting beside a princess, he realized he was dragging her into deeper danger. He spoke softly. "You don't have to stay with me. If I slow you down, if the law will—" "No," Lyra interrupted, her tone sharp. "You risked yourself for me when you had no reason. You could have left me bleeding on that throne, yet you stayed. That is not something I forget." Her words struck him harder than a weapon. He stared at her, unsure what to say. Then Lyra moved closer. She studied him like he was a puzzle. "Humans are strange. You laugh in danger. You speak to me like I am not a princess. You call me sweetie." Ryan chuckled nervously. "Yeah, about that, but she wasn't done." Her voice softened. "In my whole life, no one has spoken to me without fear. No one has dared to laugh with me, not even my family. And yet you—" Her violet eyes glimmered. "You make me laugh when I should be afraid." Ryan felt his chest tighten. He wasn't sure if it was fear or something else. "Guess I'm just bad at following rules." She smiled again, a fragile, secret smile. For the first time, she looked less like royalty and more like someone lonely, desperate for freedom. Before either could speak again, the ground trembled faintly. Dust rained from the ceiling. Ryan's instincts flared. This wasn't natural. Lyra's face grew pale. "The enforcers are using scanners. They are searching the tunnels." Ryan cursed under his breath and stood quickly. "Then we keep moving." "Come on, sweetie." Her cheeks flushed that violet color again, but she didn't argue. She rose and followed him deeper into the darkness. As they walked, Lyra whispered almost to herself, "If the law saw this, they would already condemn me." Ryan looked back at her with a grin that hid his own fear. Then it's a good thing the law isn't here, just me. Your darling. Lyra's lips parted in shock, then she laughed, quiet but real. The sound gave them both strength as they slipped deeper into the forbidden shadows. For the first time, the princess of the Seventh Crown and the human captain shared something the law could never allow. Trust. And maybe something even stronger. The tunnels twisted like the ribs of a dead giant, narrow and endless. Ryan kept his grip on the rusted pipe, moving ahead with steady steps while Lyra followed close behind. The faint glow of wall crystals guided their path, but shadows stretched long, hiding every corner. Ryan's instincts screamed danger. He had walked through battlefields before, and this silence felt the same, like a storm waiting to break. Lyra's voice was a whisper. The enforcers will not stop. They know I escaped. They will hunt until I am found. Ryan glanced back at her. Then we make sure they don't find you. She frowned. You speak as if it is simple. Not simple, Ryan said with a half smile. Just necessary. They moved deeper, their breaths loud in the silence. Ryan's mind replayed the warning she had given him. The Galactic Law, the punishment, the shame. He wondered if she regretted trusting him. But when he looked at her, she walked with her chin high, eyes glowing in the dark. She was afraid, yes, but her pride would not bend. The tunnel split ahead. Ryan knelt, pressing his ear to the ground. Faint vibrations. Metal boots approaching fast. They're in the tunnels already, he muttered. Lyra's hand touched the wall, tracing old carvings. This way, she said, pointing left. There is a hidden passage my ancestors built. Only royals know of it. Ryan raised a brow. Then you'd better hope your ancestors had good taste in directions. They hurried left, feet crunching on gravel. The air grew colder, the ceiling lower. Suddenly the tunnel opened into a vast underground hall, filled with collapsed pillars and fallen statues. Shadows danced across the broken faces of forgotten kings. Ryan stopped. His instincts prickled. Too open, he whispered. Before Lyra could ask, the sound came. Clanking boots, voices in a strange metallic tongue. Enforcers poured into the hall from the far side, armored and glowing with crimson visors. Their rifles hummed with deadly light. Lyra's breath caught. Ryan pulled her behind a fallen statue. Stay low, but it was too late. One enforcer's visor flickered. He had detected movement. With a sharp gesture, the soldiers spread out, scanning the ruins. Ryan cursed under his breath. All right, sweetie. Guess it's showtime, Lyra stared. You cannot fight them. They are trained, armed. Ryan cut her off with a grin. Yeah, but they don't know how stubborn humans can be. Before she could stop him, Ryan darted out from cover. He grabbed a loose shard of stone and hurled it across the hall. It clattered against a pillar on the far side. The enforcers turned, weapons raised. In that second of distraction, Ryan pulled Lyra by the wrist, dragging her toward a collapsed archway. Shots of red plasma burned the air, scorching stone around them. The hall shook with blasts. They ducked behind rubble, breaths sharp. Lyra's royal calm cracked, her eyes wide, her hand clutching his arm. You risk your life like it is nothing, Ryan smirked. Nah, just making sure darling doesn't get caught. Even in fear, her lips twitched. The enforcers advanced, their voices cold and inhuman. Ryan scanned the ruins quickly. He spotted a half-broken chain hanging from the ceiling, connected to a massive stone slab above. An idea sparked. Cover your ears, he whispered. Before Lyra could ask why, Ryan sprinted across open ground, ducking plasma fire. He leapt, grabbed the chain, and yanked with all his strength. The rusty link screamed. With a final pull, the chain snapped and the slab crashed down with thunder, smashing the floor. Dust and stone exploded, blocking part of the hall. The enforcers stumbled, blinded by debris. Ryan coughed hard, lungs burning, but forced himself to move. He ran back to Lyra, pulling her to her feet. Now's our chance. They raced through the smoke, slipping into a side tunnel. Their footsteps echoed, chased by the distant roar of enforcers clearing the rubble. For a long while, they ran without stopping. When they finally slowed, both were trembling with exhaustion. Ryan leaned against the wall, chest heaving. Remind me to stop doing stupid hero stuff. Lyra looked at him, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. She touched his arm gently. It was not stupid, it was human. Her words caught him off guard. For the first time, her royal pride softened completely. She wasn't speaking as a princess now. She was speaking as someone who saw him, not just his species. But before Ryan could reply, a low growl echoed in the tunnel. They froze. From the shadows ahead, 2 glowing eyes appeared, then 4, then 6. A beast born of darkness crawled forward on long, twisted limbs. Its skin shimmered like liquid metal, teeth glistening. Lyra whispered, fear breaking her voice. A shadowhound. They guard the tunnels. Ryan gripped his pipe, sweat running down his neck. Great. As if soldiers weren't enough. The beast snarled, the sound rattling the stones. Its eyes locked on them, hungry and merciless. Ryan glanced at Lyra. Stay behind me. She shook her head fiercely. No, we fight together. For the first time, Ryan saw it, the fire in her royal blood, not just pride but courage. She wasn't only a princess. She was a warrior's daughter. The shadowhound leapt, claws slashing through the air. Ryan swung the pipe with all his strength. The battle in the shadows had begun. The shadowhound's roar still echoed in Ryan's ears as he and Lyra stumbled into another chamber, far from the fight. The beast had fallen at last, its body broken among the ruins, but victory came at a price. Both were bleeding, both exhausted. Ryan's pipe was bent nearly in half, and Lyra's royal robe was torn and stained. They sank against a wall, breathing hard. For a long moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of dripping water filled the silence. Ryan finally broke it with a shaky laugh. So, is this your idea of a royal tour? Lyra blinked, then let out the smallest laugh. I admit, my kingdom's basements are more dangerous than most. Their laughter faded slowly, leaving only the beating of 2 tired hearts. Ryan looked at her. Dirt smudged her face and her silver hair hung loose, but her violet eyes still glowed. She looked less like a princess now and more like someone human. You fought back there, Ryan said. Not just with words. You stood with me. Lyra's expression softened. I had no choice. If I let you fall, I would fall too. She paused, then added, but I wanted to fight beside you. That surprised me, Ryan smirked. Guess I'm growing on you. She tilted her head, eyes narrowing playfully. Perhaps. But do not expect me to call you captain anymore. Oh no? She smiled faintly. You are darling. That is enough. Ryan groaned, pressing his face into his hands. Sweetie, you're going to ruin my reputation. Lyra laughed then, a clear, bright sound that echoed through the chamber. It was the second time he had heard it since meeting her, and each time it cut through the fear like light through smoke. But when the laughter faded, she lowered her gaze. Her voice turned quiet, almost fragile. Do you know why it feels strange to me? To laugh like this? Ryan shook his head. Because I was never allowed, she whispered. In the palace, everything I said was measured. Every smile was for politics. Every word was for duty. I was raised to be a crown, not a person. But with you, she hesitated. I feel like I can breathe. Ryan's chest tightened. He thought of the soldiers he had lost, of his life on Earth where he never felt like more than a pawn. In her words, he recognized his own pain. He leaned closer. Maybe that's why we met here. 2 broken people who finally get to be real. For a moment, silence wrapped around them again. But it was a soft silence now, not heavy. A silence of 2 people who didn't need to hide. Then Lyra's expression shifted, serious once more. But this is dangerous. We should not grow close. If the enforcers discover us together, they will not just punish me. They will use me as an example. Ryan frowned. Example? They will parade me as a traitor. They will burn my name from the history of my people. A princess who laughed with a human? The law will not forgive. Ryan clenched his fists. That law is poison. Lyra's eyes glistened. But it is stronger than me. Stronger than us. He reached out, gently taking her hand. Maybe, but laws are just words. And words can't erase what's real. Her fingers trembled in his, but she didn't pull away. You speak as though courage can defeat the galaxy. He smiled faintly. Sometimes, sweetie, courage is the only weapon left. They sat like that for a while, hand in hand. 2 fugitives hidden in shadows but bound by something stronger than fear. But the moment did not last. A sharp hum filled the air. Lyra stiffened. Scanners, she whispered. They are searching again. Ryan cursed softly. He stood, pulling her with him. All right, back to running. You and me, sweetie. She tightened her grip on his hand. Yes, darling. They slipped through another crack in the wall, entering a narrow passage lit only by faint crystals. The scanner's glow swept the chamber behind them, missing them by inches. As they walked, Ryan muttered, You know, if anyone hears you calling me darling, I'll never live it down. Lyra smiled softly. Then it will be our secret, sweetie and darling, hidden from the galaxy. Ryan laughed quietly, shaking his head. That's the strangest secret I've ever kept. But deep down he knew it was more than strange. It was dangerous, forbidden, and yet the most precious thing he had found in all his battles. The tunnel ahead stretched into darkness, leading them who knew where. But for the first time since the mission began, Ryan did not feel alone. He had someone beside him, someone who saw him not as a soldier, not as a human, but simply as Ryan, and in that moment, even with danger close behind, that was enough. The tunnels narrowed until the air grew heavy with damp stone. Ryan and Lyra walked in silence, their steps echoing softly. Every sound felt dangerous now, the drip of water, the whisper of dust, even their own breathing. At last, the passage opened into a hidden cavern. Strange lights glowed from crystals in the ceiling, bathing the chamber in pale blue. In the center stood a broken console half buried in rubble, once part of an ancient system. Lyra sank onto a stone block, her shoulders trembling with exhaustion. Ryan knelt beside her, searching through his pack for water. He found a small container, cracked but still holding a little. He handed it to her. "Drink," he said. She accepted it, sipping carefully, then passed it back. "You should have the rest." Ryan shook his head. "Ladies first." Lyra gave him a look, half annoyed, half amused. "You risk death for me, you fight beasts for me, and now you give me water. You're either foolish or—" Her voice softened. "You care more than you should." Ryan didn't answer. He didn't need to, but Lyra wasn't finished. Her eyes grew distant, heavy with thought. "Do you truly understand what you risk, Ryan? The Galactic Law is not like your human laws. It is not written for fairness. It is written for power." Ryan leaned back, listening. Lyra's voice became quiet, almost like a story told to a child. Long ago, the law was made by the High Council. They feared what happens when species mix. They said it weakens bloodlines, destroys tradition, brings chaos. So they wrote a rule. No royal may bond with another kind. Her hands tightened in her lap. If a princess like me is found with a human, they will call it contamination. They will strip my crown, erase my name, and display my shame for all to see. Ryan clenched his jaw. "That's not a law. That's a cage." Lyra looked at him sharply. "To them it is survival. Every planet obeys it. Every species fears breaking it. Even the rebels speak of freedom, but not of love between kinds. That is the deepest taboo." Ryan sighed, rubbing his forehead. "And here I thought I was just helping a girl in trouble. Turns out I'm breaking the galaxy's biggest rule." Lyra's lips curved faintly. "Yes, darling." "You are," he groaned. "You're not helping." Her smile faded. "I am serious, Ryan. When they catch us, and they will try until their last breath, it will not be you alone they punish. It will be me. My people will lose faith in me. My family will disown me, and the council will make an example so no one dares follow." Ryan studied her. For the first time, he saw fear not of soldiers or beasts, but of something greater. Fear of losing her identity, her place in the stars. He reached out, gently touching her hand. "So what? You'd rather go back and sit on that throne alone, pretending you're not human enough to laugh?" Her eyes shimmered violet in the crystal light. "I do not want to go back, but I am afraid." Ryan's grip tightened. "Good, be afraid. Fear means you're alive, and as long as you're alive, you can fight." She stared at him, stunned by his bluntness. Then slowly her lips parted in the smallest smile. "You truly believe courage can stand against the law?" Ryan chuckled. "Sweetie, courage is the only thing that's ever changed laws." Before Lyra could reply, voices echoed from the tunnel. Harsh, metallic, growing closer. Ryan cursed under his breath and pulled her to her feet. They slipped behind the broken console as shadows filled the chamber. Enforcers entered, visors glowing red, scanners sweeping the ground. Lyra held her breath. Her fingers dug into Ryan's sleeve. The soldiers spoke in their strange tongue, scanning deeper into the cavern. One pointed toward the console. The others followed. Ryan's heart raced. "They had seconds," he whispered, barely moving his lips. "When I say run, you run." "Don't argue," Lyra whispered back, fierce and stubborn. "If you stay, I stay." The enforcers drew closer. The glow of their visors reflected off the stone, painting the chamber in red. Ryan grinned faintly, even in the face of death. "You're impossible, you know that? She looked at him, her eyes bright with defiance. "Yes, darling." "I am." The moment stretched, red light, heavy silence, two hearts beating fast. Then Ryan acted. He shoved the console with all his strength. It toppled, crashing to the ground, sending a wave of dust into the air. The enforcers shouted, blinded for a moment. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her through a narrow crack in the wall. They ran, the sound of weapons charging behind them. As they vanished into the shadows, Lyra whispered, breathless but strong, "The law will never forgive us." Ryan squeezed her hand tighter. "Then we'll write our own law." And together, Sweetie and Darling fled deeper into the forbidden dark. The night outside the tunnels was alive with fire. The alien city, once full of shining towers, now burned under the eyes of the enforcers. Smoke curled toward the stars and the ground shook with the weight of patrol ships overhead. Ryan and Lyra crouched in the ruins of an old market. Broken stalls lay scattered, their colors faded, their wood burned. Somewhere far away a scream echoed, then silence. Ryan checked the horizon. Enforcer drones hovered in the sky like red stars scanning every street. He muttered, "Whole place is crawling with them." Lyra's face was pale, glowing faintly in the firelight. She kept her chin high, but her hands trembled slightly. "They know I am alive. They know you are with me. They will not stop." Ryan leaned against a cracked pillar, catching his breath. "Good, let them come. We'll keep running until they choke on their own rules." Lyra gave him a sharp look. "You speak as if we can fight the galaxy alone." Ryan smirked. "Maybe not the galaxy, but I can fight anyone who gets in our way." Before she could reply, the whir of engines grew louder. A patrol ship swept over the ruins, its searchlight cutting across the rubble. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand and pulled her into the shadows of a collapsed archway. The light passed just inches away. Lyra pressed close to him, her heart beat fast against his arm. For a moment, they didn't breathe. When the ship moved on, Ryan whispered, "Guess the galaxy really doesn't want us together." Lyra looked up at him, her violet eyes shining. "Maybe that is why I want it more." Ryan blinked, caught off guard. He almost answered, but the sound of boots cut him short. Enforcers entered the market from the far side, rifles glowing. Their metallic voices carried across the ruins. Ryan cursed softly. Time to move. They darted between broken stalls, crouching low. But the enforcers spread out quickly. Soon the ruins were filled with red light and the hum of weapons. Ryan spotted an alley half blocked by rubble. "This way!" They slipped inside, stumbling over debris. The alley ended at a wall too high to climb. "Trapped." Lyra's voice was sharp with fear. "Ryan, I know." He scanned the alley. His eyes caught a pile of old fuel canisters, cracked and leaking. An idea sparked. "Stay down," he ordered. Before Lyra could argue, Ryan grabbed a shard of metal and struck the nearest canister. Sparks flew. The leaking fumes caught fire instantly. Flames roared, racing along the alley, exploding into a wall of heat. The enforcers shouted as fire blocked their path. For a brief moment, the alley was sealed. Ryan grabbed Lyra's hand again, pulling her through a side crack in the wall, barely big enough to squeeze through. They emerged into another ruined street, coughing from smoke. Lyra stumbled, and Ryan caught her. She looked at him, her face streaked with dust and fear. "You are reckless." "Completely reckless," he grinned despite his burned hands. "Yeah, but it worked, didn't it?" For a second, she only stared at him. Then, without warning, she laughed, a laugh that broke through the fire and smoke like light. Ryan blinked. "What's so funny?" "You," she said, her eyes shining even as tears slid down her cheeks. "You risk everything without thought, and yet—" "You make me feel safe." Ryan's grin faded. He hadn't expected that. He hadn't expected her. The distant rumble of engines reminded them the danger wasn't over. But in that alley, for a heartbeat, the war fell silent. Lyra whispered, "Do not leave me, darling." The words struck him harder than any weapon. He wanted to promise. He wanted to swear it on the stars. But he only managed a quiet, "I won't." They kept moving, weaving through shattered streets. The city was alive with fire and fear, but together they carved a path through it. By dawn, they reached the edge of the ruins. Ahead, beyond the broken walls, stretched open desert, and in the distance, smoke marked a hidden camp, the rebels' base. Ryan pointed. "That's where we're heading. Safe haven." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Safe? You think rebels will forgive a princess breaking the law? Even they may see me as a danger." Ryan shrugged. "Maybe." But at least they'll give us a chance. And right now a chance is more than the law wants us to have. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. Very well. We go together. Ryan smiled faintly. Sweetie and darling against the galaxy. She shook her head, but her lips curved into a smile too. Behind them, the city still burned. Ahead of them, more danger waited. But in the middle of war, in the middle of fire and fear, they had found something the galaxy did not allow. Laughter, trust, and a fragile thread of love. The desert wind howled like a living thing. Sand whipped against Ryan's face as he and Lyra moved toward the smoke of the rebel camp. Every step was heavy, their bodies bruised, but hope pulled them forward. When they reached the camp hidden between sharp cliffs, rebels rushed out to meet them. Weapons were raised, voices harsh. Human, one shouted. And with him, the princess? Lyra lifted her chin, her royal pride unshaken. I am Princess Lyra of the 7th Crown. I seek sanctuary. The rebels murmured among themselves. Some looked fearful, others angry. A tall woman stepped forward, her armor scratched and her eyes hard. You bring danger here, princess. The law will burn us alive if they know you are with a human. Ryan stood firm. Then let them burn. She's not your enemy. She's running from the same tyrants you fight. But the rebel leader shook her head. You don't understand, human. The law does not forgive. If she stays with you, every rebel base will become a target. Every planet that shelters you will suffer. Lyra's heart sank. Even here, among those who fought for freedom, the law held power like chains. Before she could answer, a roar filled the sky. Shadows fell across the desert. Enforcer ships descended, black and heavy, their lights burning red. The rebels shouted in alarm. They've found us! Ryan's stomach turned cold. They must have tracked us. The leader's eyes burned with fury. Then you've doomed us all. Blaster fire rained down from the ships, tearing through the camp. Rebels scattered, firing back with old weapons. Explosions shook the ground. Ryan pulled Lyra into cover. Stay low! But Lyra grabbed his arm, her voice urgent. Ryan, listen to me. If I surrender, the enforcers will leave the rebels. They want me, not them. Ryan's eyes widened. No, don't you dare. Tears glistened in her violet eyes. It is the only way. If I give myself up, they may spare you too. Ryan shook his head fiercely. I didn't come this far to watch you throw yourself to them. You think the law will forgive? No, they'll destroy you. They'll erase you. Lyra's hands trembled against his chest. And if I stay, they will destroy everyone here. The truth hung heavy between them. Around them, rebels screamed, fire raged, and the enforcers closed in. Ryan grabbed her face gently, forcing her to look at him. Sweetie, don't do this. You said I made you laugh. You said I made you feel alive. Don't let them take that away. Her lips quivered. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to stay, but the law's shadow was too large. The enforcers landed, their leader stepping forward in black armor, visor glowing red. His voice echoed like iron. Princess Lyra, you are guilty of breaking the Galactic Law. You stand with a human. Surrender, and your punishment will be swift. Lyra stood slowly, her body trembling but her head held high. She looked back at Ryan. This is my final choice, darling. I will not let them kill for me. Ryan's heart broke. He couldn't lose her, not now, not after everything. His hands shook on the bent pipe he still carried. Then something unexpected happened. The rebels, beaten and broken, began to rise. One by one, they stood behind Ryan and Lyra, weapons raised. The leader shouted, her voice fierce. If the law demands her death for loving a human, then the law is no better than the tyrants we fight. The rebels roared in agreement. Lyra's eyes widened. For the first time in her life, someone, many someones, stood beside her not because of her crown, but because of her choice. Ryan grinned through the dust and blood. Looks like we're not alone, sweetie. The enforcer leader raised his weapon. Then you will all burn. The battle exploded. Blaster fire lit the desert like a storm of stars. Ryan fought with everything left in him, swinging his pipe, grabbing enemy rifles, pushing back against the impossible. Lyra stood beside him, her voice commanding, her courage burning brighter than fear. Together, Sweetie and Darling led rebels against the enforcers. The fight was brutal. Many fell, the air filled with smoke and cries. But for every rebel that fell, 2 more rose, fueled by defiance. Finally, the enforcer leader fell beneath a blast of rebel fire. The remaining soldiers retreated to their ships, lifting off into the night sky. The desert fell silent except for the sound of wind and fire. Ryan dropped to his knees, exhausted. Lyra knelt beside him, touching his shoulder. Her violet eyes shone with tears, but also with pride. "The law will not forgive this," she whispered. "But tonight, we made them afraid." Ryan looked at her, his chest aching but his smile real. "Then let them be afraid. Because they'll never take away this." He touched her hand and she laughed through her tears. Sweetie and darling against the galaxy, not broken, not erased, but alive.